Hey, good morning, folks. We're going to do some artwork today. So give me a second here to check in on my signal, make sure that we're live and active. I'll do my quick social media post. It takes less than a minute. So if you're catching this in the future, you can fast forward a minute and skip this intro process, and we'll dive into some more artwork today. Checking my volume here. Check. Checking my volume here. Yeah, okay. Seems okay. Checking my volume here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, cool. Sorry about that. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes. So for those that have stuck around, God bless you. Thanks a lot. And thanks to new subscribers. We have new subscribers since yesterday. That's I'm always blessed. Thank you so much for people that take an interest in the stuff that I'm building here. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and then I publish them online. And hey, good morning, Adam. Cheers, my man. So what are we doing here? I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, I publish them online, and right now we're creating an adventure for the Eberron campaign setting. And no, that's not the right button. Hold on. I'm almost done with my social media posts, and then we'll get to work. So we've been building this adventure. I've literally been streaming it for 600 some odd days here. I don't think we're going to get to 666. We don't have that much duration left in us. That'd be fun and poetic. But no, it's going to be done sooner than that. I suspect we're going to be done in the next 3 weeks, like probably the first week of February. We're counting down the assets that we actually need to create to be finished with publishing. And let me fix my screen here real quick. I'm a little disjointed this morning. Sorry about that. Clack, 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 clack. Okay, great. There we go there. And hey, hi, Kevins. Right, so here's this is the book cover we created back like around episode 40. You can jump into the Eberron playlist. Right now, today, we're dropping in a corner vignette over here, just a little space. This, spoiler alert, I was futzing around with this a few minutes ago, and this used to be over here, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of want this space, this vertical space here for whatever little pocket illustration that we create. I don't want to just be flat along here, so I wanted to grab... cut that off, and I did it the wrong way. So the way that I should do it is going to be like this. And hold on real quick. Let's drop that down here as a separate layer, and then we'll grab this and bring it over here. This is the sloppy way to do it. This is I don't want to open up Microsoft Word and dive into the Word program and actually, fuck you. This is page 97. So let's go ahead and peel open the document. I'll show you the process of how I do it. So we go to page. We'll wait for the Microsoft Word Pro because yes, I use Microsoft Word for creating all my PDFs. I have it for free already. It's an incredibly versatile program. Honestly, it really is. So we're gonna go down to page 97. Hot second here. Where are we at? It's 96. That doesn't seem right. Hold on. What the hell's going on? Coterminous rifts. Oh, okay. I know where we're supposed to be at. That's not page 9. That's page 50. That's not page 96. It's page 67. Thank you. 96 is the one that we finished yesterday. And hold on. Scroll past all the monster manual, all the items and oddities. And here we go, finally. Page, I think is this page 96? 57, I mean, that's what I'm actually looking for. No, not quite. It's just past this. Here we go. This is where I'm supposed to be. Okay, great. So now that I took all that time to get here, sorry guys. This is the kind of day that we're going to have together. So I'm apologizing in advance. If the ritual results in the manifest zone stabilizing permanently, let's change that. Let's see. DM can use this fissures as any means if the ritual permanently stabilizes the manifest zone, comma. The fissures allow travel to and from the bar. So I can take this, drop this to here, pop that there. Now we can pan out, make sure that our spacing is correct. Here's our page. I'm going to hit save. I'm now going to extract this as a PDF. So, file, export as a PDF. We're going to call it page 57. Hey, how about that? We already have one. Options is this this page only, only the document without any properties and structure tags for accessibility. Equals published. Yes, replace it. It'll be a single page. Bob's your uncle. There, a single page PDF. There it is in all its naked glory. So we'll then close that out. We don't need the Word document anymore. We'll then jump into here to file, open. Did I have a page 57 open recently? Yeah, there's one. So let's pop that open, and then we'll click OK. You can see it's now the corrected text. So I'm going to, when I get control of my mouse again, I'm going to select all, copy, drop over to here, go to the text layer. We're going to merge this down, and we're going to make this invisible. And we're now going to paste in place. We have the text modified. We can now delete this text. TXT. We'll save that layer for science, and then let's create a new area. We'll call this Vignette. There. That's the process of integrating a page into the Photoshop. So these text boxes, that's a separate background color that we're dropping in here. So when we go, I closed it already, and I won't do it because it's RAM intensive for me to run OBS with Photoshop open and open up my Word document and start creating image spaces inside of the Word document. I've tried it before, it gets bulky, but what'll happen is we'll make a page out of this background. Actually, let's just do it this way, just for demonstration purposes. There. So we have our page like this. This whole back here like that. This is all. This and this, and the background color here. That's all that illustration. That becomes one single illustration, 11 inches by 17 inches in size. And so we then take 105 pages, which is the length of the document, and create 105 spaces like boxes, objects, square-shaped objects, the size of the page, that we then insert into the object, the illustration here, and then we can hyperlink locations inside that object box so that you can click on the screen and it'll bounce you from page to page. I should start having tonight moving forward. I can start doing hyperlinking, and with God's grace, I'll have it done in the following week. And when I do, that means the only thing I have left are these image assets that we're creating. But for those that aren't indoctrinated, this is that 16 by 9. It's going to get, if you look at it full screen, I realize that the sides of YouTube will clip off the actual size of it. But if you're just looking at the screen, you can see that this is occupying my full space of my little photo up here in the corner. Hey guys. But this is a 16 by 9 format. It fits on your devices. Each column is 16 by 9 as well. So it's designed. The utility of the item and medium is literally designed for PDF instead of being a PDF version of a 8.5 and 11 textbook or 5 by 7 digest style book. It's built as a PDF, knowing that it's going to be used on a PDF. And then all the assets and stuff, like all the maps and stuff, those are a separate downloadable packet that you could either print off assets with, because the 17 by 11 page is appropriate for its legal size. 17 by 11 is legal size. 17 by 12, sorry, a 17 by 12 page is like a legal document page, so you can feed this adventure. If you want to print it out, you can, but it's going to fit on 17 by 12 pages. So there you go. Anyway, I've rambled enough. Let me try to get something done. So this is talking about the coterminous. Here, I'll show you the nexus. Here, thank you. Oh, I need to put that text box back inside. There you go. Okay, cool. So here's the coterminous rift. This is where the ritual is actually being performed. This is deeper inside of the underground dungeon, the underground facility where this is all taking place. This chamber has been incredibly warped by the magic of the Mabaran plane coming in, so it no longer looks like its original underground structure. Hey, what's up? Those are nice proportions, adequate for digital reading. I wish more rulebooks were written with that in mind. Thank you. And it's super cool on the DMsGuild. It used to not be this way. It changed when they changed the format of the website, but now it'll properly display any size page that you place. It just loads it like it's supposed to look. It used to only load in the 8.5 by 11 format, so if you put in a double truck spread like that, it would automatically auto-align it. It would shrink it down to the width of 8 inches instead of 17. So only with the new website are you able to really use this digital format and show it off on the One Bookshelf website, or DMsGuild, or ttrpg, whichever title you want to use. It has that capability now, so we can build documents and show them in the preview as they are intended, because all of my stuff is always 100% free preview. People don't spend money to see if they like my shit. They look at my shit, and if they like it enough, they buy it. So it's been, this is not my day hustle, this is a side gig for me, so I'm blessed that I can afford to do that sort of arrangement. So, because I think it's hard enough just to get people to look at your shit, much less expect them to pay to see it first. So that's just never been my drive. So like once I start doing stuff on Patreon, it'll be that'll all be free access, but Patreon members will get access to stuff months early, and we'll have a vote and say on what's the next thing that I'm going to build. Like if I want to build out a clave for the Simic Guild on Ravnica using my Bastion mechanics and then populating it with biomancers that we develop using our mana system, I can post all of that on Patreon, and then after like 2 months make it available for free for anybody to look at. But we'll have hopefully 3 or 4 things a month that we're going to do. Like we do that, and then like maybe next time we instead build a 500-foot Illithid ship. That's like the Kraken class Illithid carrier ship for Spelljammer, and we can pit that against. We can then like build out the 500-foot Ogre Mammoth and the 500-foot Monarch Butterfly for the Elven fleets. I kind of like the idea of expanding and extending Spelljammer stuff beyond the book that we have. I don't know. Since that stuff is artwork, I can literally post it on DMsGuild and on my Patreon if I wanted to. But if I'm going to stat it out, like give it full statistics and build adventures and stuff with them, then that would either have to be free preview, free use on Patreon as fan content, which is legal, or I restrict it to be a DMsGuild product, which would then have 100% free preview and people buy it if they value it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I would put that on DMsGuild, like the Simic Clave stuff. I'd put that on Patreon, because there is no value in hyper focusing Magic the Gathering on DMsGuild. I did the Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica, with a good collaboration of strong writers, and that is a kick-ass book. We're going to update that for 2025 eventually. But it's a kick-ass book that converts the 10 guilds of Ravnica into otherworldly patrons that you form a guild pact with. If you're an MTG fan, you'll realize the pun there, because guild pact is the arrangement between the different guilds in Ravnica that keep them from destroying each other, but at the same time it allows people to bond themselves to those guilds and become part of that guild pact agreement of like no one is allowed to admit that House Dimir exists. And Dimir's pact inside of it, conversely, is it is their duty to destroy all the other guilds. One of the rules of the guild pact is you cannot destroy another guild. So like there's contradictions built into the guild pact magic that causes paradoxes and contradictions to paradoxes to occur inside of the spell that prevents like Dimir from destroying a house, or from anyone being able to publicly admit that House Dimir exists, even though it's obvious that it's operating. That's why it has that reporter motif. Like, yeah, we're just news reporters just checking out what's going on here, and that cover story will hold because the magic, the pact magic, prevents it from being broken. So when you take a guild pact and become a warlock of Dimir, you're now benefiting from that pact as well, and your characters are able to shift what their identity is. I think that's the guild ability that we gave them, was to be able to shift their identities. Oh, they could disguise their color magic. They can switch what color their magic looks like, as they're preparing a disguise, and that disguise makes them look like. If I'm disguising myself as Boros, my black and blue mana will look like white and red mana instead. So it's super cool, but that's super niche. It's such a niche idea that few people that play D&D actually need something like that, much less will find and go looking for it on the DMsGuild and find it. As a couture project design, it was super cool to build, but it has no real market value other than this is some of the cool shit you can do with these mana ideas in D&D. It was just kind of a proof of concept. I feel bad for the other creators that went in on one with me because we didn't know. We hadn't seen any hyper-focused, any kind of hyper-focused Magic the Gathering sort of theme in any supplement at that point. And it just proved that I still get sales occasionally, but a month could go by and I won't sell one. So there's obviously not a very large market going on for that setting right now, or for that Magic the Gathering to D&D crossover sort of feel. You kind of have to catch somebody who's interested in both enough to want to have that color mana experience, but it really is just the color mana system really is just amazing for building characters, and it's super fun. So I don't regret having built it, but I also have to think about like where's my priority and like where do I publish stuff. If I know that I made a small book of Dimir or something using these like the martial powers and the color mana system that I have, if I put it on DMsGuild, it's basically just dead. If I put it on Patreon, then I can make it available for people for free, and then I can, promote it on MTG Vorthos and like the Ravnica subclass and just D&D Beyond in general, or one D&D on Reddit and blah blah blah. I can like actually advertise it and share it with people for them to see as people on Patreon do. So I'm seeing that happening probably 2 years from now, to be honest. And at that point, I don't even know how relevant 5e is going to be. So it's a retarded rate that I'm operating at. But the Bastion system is a massive priority for me personally. The martial power system and converting color mana to the 2025 rules is another major priority. But for me to be able to start really putting out content on Patreon, I need to have those books done. So between the Bastion campaign, martial powers, and converting all the MTG books that I've already built previously, it'll be 2028
by the time I'm like, what's next? Like, what do I want to do for fun at that point? So it's fucking ridiculous. And I'm way behind the curve, but I'm too much of a control freak to like build a studio out of it. That's not going to make any fucking money anyway. These are all massive pet projects that I'm working on, and so I just do it for the love of the game. And whether it nets me followers and people that are interested in buying that stuff, who knows? I mean, I've gathered a small cabal of playtesters on my Discord at that point that like this kind of cool stuff, and I guess I just appreciate who I am and what I do. That I've at least got a small stable of people that are willing to playtest. But the longer I have the same playtesters, the more enamored they become with the creation process, because they start to have more buy-in on it. And I need a constant influx of impartial playtesters that'll be harsh on the mechanics to see if they fall in love with it. And once they do, I can't use them for playtesting, but I can build appreciation campaigns. Like the Spelljammer thing that we're doing is mostly an appreciation campaign. Hey, there's text. What's going on? Niche is opposed to me. Yeah. In my humble opinion, it doesn't really matter much at that point. The important part is you're having fun. Right, which is why it's really important that like if I were to ever make this my full-time hustle, I need to be in a position where it's like, yeah, I can just quit my day job and I'm fine. And nothing will change for me. I'm still fine. And I can't afford to have to hustle if this is going to be my actual income. So that means it's basically a really aggressive hobby with potential growth, but I have to keep it in that hobby space. Otherwise, I'm going to drop the opacity on this smudge brush because I'm just getting picky at this point. All right, I'm just mincing. Let's get back to work. I'm going to grab this color here. I'm thinking about making one of these little passages. We saw these little tendrils, these little hallways or pathways that were leading away from the central room when we looked at the larger map. A mossy, crystal-encrusted fissure in the wall belches fog that spreads across the floor to the chamber. The rift leads into poison-choked darkness. A sense of dread emanates from the passage. These rifts are covered in Mabaran crystals and Vulpina Lotharia, filling the tunnels with poisonous fumes. They lead away from Area 14 for 100 feet to a dead end. However, these fissures act as one-way conduits for unnatural creatures from Mabar entering the Nexus chamber. Exiting the facility through the hidden passage in Area 10... Nexus chamber, right. Exiting the facility through the hidden passage in Area 10 that leads to Part 2, the cemetery, or the flooded entry in Area 12, which is the flooded fortress. If the characters investigate either fissure, these fissures, roll 1d6 or choose from the random table below to determine what creature is currently in the tunnel traveling from Mabar. 2 whites, a Barghest, Shadow Mastiffs, Wraith, Spectres, or nothing. The DM can use these fissures as a means of adding more monsters to any combat in Area 14 or to restock the bunker if the characters retreat from Part 3 to rest. If the ritual permanently stabilizes the manifest zones, the fissures allow travel to and from the barn. There you go. So that's what these fissures are. So I wanted to put down some wall space and just kind of mess around with this fissure idea, since that's what's going on this page and this area. It seems appropriate that I would illustrate one of these fissures. So this is why I wanted this vertical space. I can have just the normal walls that are surrounding the region. Using this color works out well as our line art to create the topography, the contours of the stone. So that works out well, and I wanted this vertical, you can see here, I wanted this vertical space so I could start creating these, I could illustrate this rift. Kind of like the cavern that we completed the other day. This is just more environmental art that helps feed in the imagination of the DM to be able to describe stuff. So the DM can take this illustration and use it to describe it in whatever words that they want. Here's an illustration for you. The description that we provide is very minimal. It's not stupid pontification. That is a plague of a lot of adventures. We're trying to keep it crisp with the actual descriptions that we provide. And yeah, so this is going to be like this. This is a rift. It's going to continue to bend around and disappear. Like this one here.
Except it's more like this one here because it's not backwards. You see? There you go. Anyway, so this is what we're working on today. So my intention is just to push this down. It's 7:06, so I've got about 50 minutes at this point to continue with this relatively easy to produce illustration. I will just see how far we get today and tonight. When I want to procrastinate building hyperlinks, I will finish this illustration and we'll start something tomorrow. So that's basically the mode that we're in right now. Is I illustrate something and then I finish it off screen and we start something new. So I'm every day or two we're doing something new. I'm at this level of I'm at the level of production inside of my heart that it's this is where I'm focusing. I'm still doing the Spelljammer Bastion campaign stuff on Mondays and Thursday nights. Like last night, that was an awesome session. That was so fun building that asteroid community. We actually broke down the topography and like the flow of water on the asteroid and where the hamlets, villages, and town on the asteroid are at, what the ratio of forest versus fields were. So we actually broke it down. It was only a 60-mile asteroid, but it was sufficient to be able to feed up to 5,000 people with the resources that were on it, which means it's never going to get larger than a town unless the community can build a stronger network of asteroid communities that they have more like currently right now the players have the only Spelljammer ship large enough to act as a trade caravan between the asteroids. It's also their major battle platform, the only massive war spelljamming ship that they have. As the campaign proceeds, they can acquire more spelljamming ships that can act as freighters to be able to move more trade back and forth between the communities, but they also then need to have more people in the communities to be able to increase your rank from like a hamlet to a village to a town to a city to a metropolis. You not only need to have the resources, which are bastion points, accumulate enough bastion points to reach the rank that you need, but settlements also need a large enough population that scales with the amount of bastion points that you're using to build the structures that the populations are using. So you can be resource heavy and people light, and you'll be able to maintain a high level lifestyle, but you won't be a large commerce hub like a larger settlement rank is, because you have to have both components. You could be population heavy and resource light, and that is a powder keg for revolution, insurrection, and civil war, because there's too many people without enough bastion points worth of resources to be able to provide for them. So it's a fun balance game that the players can get involved in if they want to, by like actively utilizing recruit orders in neighboring communities to try to lure people away to join your community. But the DM can basically hand wave all of that stuff, assuming that population increases in pace with the bastion points that the community is expanding. And if the DM wants to, as a narrative element, can choke off population growth so that the community won't grow faster than you want it to, or you can use raids and bandits and brigands and stuff to keep damaging and plundering resources away from communities that you don't want to provide too many resources too quickly. So it's a full geopolitical system using ability checks that allows the DM and, if interested, players as much control over the development of communities, guilds, organizations, churches, pirate fleets. It's adaptable and nimble enough to be able to depict all of those things at a geopolitical level, from a small hamlet of up to 100 people to a metropolis like Waterdeep. We've built multiple examples at all of these different levels of different organizations. Like a while ago, we built we built the Simic Guild. Like, what is the Simic Guild capable of doing with these resources? We built that out. That was a number of months ago. And we also built out Waterdeep, and then we built out the conflict between Selûne and Shar
as rival religions operating at the Bastion level within Waterdeep, which was super fucking fun. That was probably a year ago that we did that, because all this shit takes forever for me to cook. But when it's done, it works really well, because we don't need to have a fast production cycle, because it's just for fun anyway. The only real risk that I have in my products is, are they still relevant? And even if the world bends away from D&D 5e, I'm still publishing this on the DMs Guild, because it uses the Bastion system basically as an homage. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. So I need to publish it on the DMs Guild. But once I do, I can riff on my Patreon as much as I want with it. Hey, go check this thing out. It's on the DMs Guild, and then I can publish the communities that I build. But the document that teaches you how to do it is on DMs Guild with a free preview. So go there and buy that if you want to support me. Support me on Patreon if you want to take a look at all these little things that I'm doing with the books that I publish on the DMs Guild. That's the plan. That's my big money making scheme that I'll be working. But if I do that for a while and it makes sense, then I can eventually get into Kickstarters, doing completely IP independent stuff. And I could basically take all of these ideas, keep some of it, get rid of other aspects of it, fold it all together into one solid rule book that's using the ideas from all these things that we've been building, but burn them into an independent third-party 5e supplement with its own world, and it would be an elemental world, kind of like Airbender, but like with dwarves and elves and gnomes and orcs and shit like Tolkien plus Airbender equals Legolas has color, has elemental mana, has like air. Yeah, like Legolas would have air elemental magic. He could float above, he can paddle across snow without leaving tracks and without sinking into it. That's a very air elemental sort of thing to be able to do. Air and water might make sense for that sort of a thing. So he can glide downstairs on a shield. That might be an expression of air elemental magic that Legolas would have access to. So if I were to make a third-party 5th edition campaign world, it would use a mix of my Point Warlocks color mana system, but in the elemental bend of the elemental key book that we put on the DMs Guild, so that everybody's operating off of the 4 elements. Make the elder, the arch elementals of the inner planes become the 8 gods of good and evil with the primary elements, and then have a smaller court of quasi and para elementals, and then in the real world, which is a gem that floats among the elemental planes and the ethereal. The spirit world would become the ethereal plane that you could then traverse to get to the inner elemental planes, but your world is like a para-elemental pocket with a very fortuitous blend of elemental presence to make a real world, like a prime world, as one of the crystals that just float throughout the ethereal sea, like crystal spheres. So elemental ships. Piloting the ether, Aether, to get back and forth between the realms of reality or the building block planes, and then have all sorts of pocket dimensions where wizards and sorcerers and religions create their own enclaves suspended in the ether. And then from there, the Bastion system, we can separate we can change the orders, the idea of orders to commands, and then with all the siege weapon stuff, utilize command mechanics to change the language around a little bit, because you can't copyright ideas. You can only copyright the way that you express those ideas. So if I use alternate terms and rearrange the way that I write 5e parcel, then I can rebuild all of these things that I've done on the DMs Guild as a separate 5e project that's independent on Kickstarter. Here's ideas I've done for all these. I'm going to take all of those, blend them all together into a singular campaign that assumes that you use all that stuff. So here's how you, this character, one of the features of this, the features of the Bard school of nobility is at 3rd 6th, and 14th level, you gain D6, D8, D10 bastion points to apply to your kingdom. For instance, we can build all these things to work together under the assumption that it's a bastion campaign system using mana as your fuel source. Like, I can create a temporary bastion for my characters, like Magnificent Mansion. If I expend 2 points of mana per bastion point, I can temporarily fabricate facilities inside the mansion to sustain that. So I could be burning my entire mana pool the whole time to create a magical bastion with all the facilities that we need. And so there could be all sorts of crazy temples and different constructions that are sustained by magic. And if the magic goes down, the facilities start to disappear. But all you have to do is fuel it with magic. So the monks that live in this temple are investing their own mana pool into the crystal that stabilizes the facilities of the temple. If all they were to die, if the crystal were to be destroyed, in either circumstance, the temple would just dissipate into its elemental forms. This is like an idea for a type of third-party campaign that I would build. So I think about it a little bit here and there, and I share those ideas with you as we go. And, as I've been randomly sparping off, I've been adding, line work in here. And I've got 40 minutes left, so let's keep at it. Hopefully this shit that I'm rambling about is kind of entertaining to you guys. But this is like these ideas. This is what I think about the 5e game engine. I think it's the best. I think it's the absolute best game engine that I've ever had the chance to design for. It's not the best system I've ever DM'd, I will give you that. 5e requires work, but because it's such a fantastic system, I personally think it's worth it. And honestly, D&D only gets taxing when you get into the nitty-gritty of 5e combat. If you are more heist mission, skill challenged focused, 5e is an incredibly fast, narrative, nimble system. It's only when you allow yourself to get bogged down, quote unquote, bogged down by 5e combat that it feels heavy. But if you like the technical depth of 5e combat, it doesn't feel bogged down. It's precise. And I have had a lot of tables in my years of gaming that love precise technical combat. So 5e is pretty good for that. It's not overly heavy that you need to reference books all the time to make sure that your ruler is pointing in the right direction. It's more organic than that, but it's deep enough tactically and with optimization that it's worth knowing the details if you're into optimizing character builds as a side hustle, as a side hobby. So I love 5e. It's great. It has the spirit of 3e, but the swiftness of Beck, in my opinion. But I've been running D&D combat for 40 years, so like I'm pretty good at managing a table and keeping flow. And people that haven't had the time to accumulate that much experience are going to be bogged down with details. I can just kind of flow through them. I can also multitask really well in my head. I can maintain stats for multiple creatures. These are skills that you accumulate intentionally as you fall in love with DMing. Like, you're able to hold more numbers in your head at a time. It's just a skill you just naturally acquire through the process of DMing. Your brain molds itself to the conditions that you subject it to. And when you subject the brain to holding numbers and statistics and cause-effect cascades inside of your mind narratively, while simultaneously improvising bullshit reasons and bullshit responses from NPCs that you hadn't anticipated, it kind of changes your brain chemistry a little bit. It makes you really good at being improvised and cross-reference and connect different unrelated points. It's being able to see bigger pictures or see how things interconnect with each other is a natural consequence of DMing for decades. I don't think I would have the ability to correlate information and see connections in the world as well as I do if I haven't been a DM and looking at the world as a game forever anyway in the first place. So, there you go. That's a ramble. Hey, what's up? You agree with that? Cool. Develop the skill of remembering any number I have to deal with during the day, mostly around the time.
Yeah, exactly. Our brain naturally adapts to the harshness of conditions.
The more brutal you force your brain to perform, the more capable it's going to be able to take that brutality. Chess apparently does a lot to your brain chemistry because it's spatial tactics with pattern recognition, because once pieces fall into place with each other, they're able to control these different zones. Or if you sequence bishop, knight, rook into an attack sequence, you're attacking objects from different directions, and your brain starts to pick up on these patterns, and it knows, like, do I need to move the rook now, or should I be moving the knight next? Like, it starts pathing out next step problem solving, and just naturally builds the processing through likely variable results in a competitive atmosphere. It's a very unique set of skills that your brain starts to glom onto through chess. So I am very thankful for having rediscovered chess recently. I like to play 5-minute games. They're good like palate cleansers. If I've dived deep into an illustration on the weekend and I just need to rest my brain from illustration, diving into a few 5-minute games of chess is a really great way for me to be able to like completely work a different gear in my brain to move out of the art space into a logic space, and that tends to be really useful for me, just to keep my days really productive in general. But yeah, I mean, that's me. Anyway, okay, great. So we're creating these contours and pockets of shadow here to show the shape of the rock formations that are guiding down through these planar fissures. And I'm just having fun building contours and creating shapes. It's almost like it feels like the wind, like the wind tunnels in Sedona. They have all these weird geomorphic rock shapes that you can walk and crawl through, that have been shaped by winds hitting these rocks at weird angles, creating these little divots and little curved spaces. Super cool. So we're going to we're kind of playing with that idea as far as the rock formations themselves. And then we're going to start dropping crystals over everything to crust it up like we did with the cavern. And then we'll put in pockets of the Vulpina to create the viridescent light that'll create these light versus shadow pockets. And then we'll just have that recede back here into the darkness like that. So that's our current objective. This is what we are working on. So, but doing stuff like this, it really is just a brainless activity. This doesn't require any actual attention at all. And the more I talk about stuff, like the more excited I get about what I'm rambling about, the more wrapped up into the conversation I get. I get on a tear, and then I tear away at whatever the topic is that's burning through my brain, and just letting the syllables flow through the speech, kind of overrides my attention. So I get into an autonomic state with the painting where I'm painting without thinking about what's painting. I'm just, wherever my eye looks, I just start dumping pixels into. So as I observe the illustration and start having thoughts and ideas about what it is that we're looking at, the pen and the pixels just automatically flow into those spaces, creating in real time, like this is what I am imagining the illustration is becoming. But it's rendering at a speed ahead of what I'm consciously aware of what I'm doing. So instead of me dreaming up something and then recreating it, I'm allowing the dream and the act of creation to correspond or to coordinate, to manifest something that I get to watch get created with you guys, while I'm more interested in the topic of conversation that I'm rambling about at the time. So do you see how that kind of works? Like I'm distracting my conscious self so that my unconscious can access the dream and be able to create the art from those dreams. And then my conscious self realizes those dreams are coming true on the page. And you can look at any depth of Zen or Taoist philosophy behind manifesting spirit from dream as much as you want. It's kind of an analogy if you want to think about it that way. Or you can think about it that way if you choose. So in this sense, for me, in a very real sense, this is a form of prayer and meditation, of me allowing my body to act upon itself without me having to make my brain decide what are you going to do. And instead, the brain gets to be a passenger and enjoy this ride of life for the first hour or so that I'm awake every morning. And it sets me up to have a day that, if I can remember the dream, as of other events happen in my life, I can remember that I am also witness to those events, and that the thoughts that are distracting me inside of my head about who do I think I'm supposed to be allows reality to create the dream without me getting in the way of it. And as we become more and more aware that we really are passengers, and that the dialogue that we're having inside of our head is there simply to allow the dream to manifest, that's when they have that Zen sort of state where I can let the thoughts fall away, because I already enjoy the process of creation around me without getting involved with it. So it's an ongoing effort for us to quiet our mind, or rather to allow ourselves, despite our minds chattering, for us to be able to observe the process of life being created. We step out of the driver's seat and realize that it's all flowing on its own, regardless of what it is that we're thinking or saying. And we can stop being hard on ourselves about what it is that we witness in our life, because it's not our fault. We had to get out of our own way, so whatever it is that's unfolding in your life has the opportunity to unfold. And the amount of noise in your head is the level of distraction your consciousness requires for those pixels to flow in your own personal life. So, thank you for listening to my TED Talk. It was unscripted. But when I fall into a good flow state, that's where my conversations go. Because this is an act of worship and prayer for me, to celebrate that I get to be part of this life for a little bit. My artwork is my analogy. And the games that I build is the way that I gamify life, translate it into a game that I don't have to be so serious about. And I'm sharing those tools through the 5e game engine. Not much of a profit, I guess, but we all do our own work in our own way. This is my contribution to the greater collective of how to rebuild your life so you don't have to take it so seriously. One illustration at a time. So I want to darken in here so it looks like it's receding. Which means I have to increase the amount of shadow and reduce the highlights down to the edges, instead of, like, over here the highlights are like the flat plane, but further down into the depths of darkness the highlights become the lines that define dark space from each other. It switches at some point, and that switch is going to be somewhere around here, if I'm reading it right. So anyway, that was a rant. And that's the sort of space that I love falling into, and it's easiest for me to find it. There's 2 times I find that space. At night when I go to bed, before I actually fall asleep, that sort of contemplation is where my mind goes. And it goes there while it's traveling around my body, looking for things that are hurt that need to be healed. It's a very active. I have drones that move through my body. I can feel them. It's interesting. But and then the other time is when I'm painting like this. And honestly, while I'm painting on this on stream, I have this awareness level that happens when I'm on my own by myself. But my ability to turn off my brain is, for me, largely driven by speaking. And I don't talk a lot when I'm by myself. It's very quiet. I used to be very contemplative and become self-aware. But I think I'm evolving, and I think the tools that have become available to me as an artist, like being able to stream like this, is probably a natural evolution of where I'm supposed to be going with my consciousness in general. So I can see the connection. What's up? Good rant, 10 out of 10. Right on the comments. Thanks, man. It's probably nothing new. It's just the more the conversation comes out, the more it feels connected to what I'm doing. It just feels like what I'm doing is what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's a very small piece of alchemy to the largest world equation. It's not like just making role-playing games. I'm making analogies for ways for people to approach reality and to look at their life and to not get in the way of what that conversation is supposed to be. If I had to think about the things I'm going to say to you guys when I said it, I probably wouldn't fucking say them. Like that sounds awfully, precocious for you to say that, Phil. But if it's just coming out of me, it's not my fault. It's just the flow moving through me. And I don't have to take personal responsibility for how much of a fucking nut I might sound like to people. It's like, no, that's just what happens when you learn to turn off your brain and let your mouth run. So make sure you're at peace with yourself before you start activating that path, because whatever you don't have resolved in yourself is going to come out in the conversation. You're going to catch yourself saying weird shit that you didn't expect to share with people. I will not point out any particular references, but if you want to watch all of my content, you'll probably find it. Again, we're building darkness in here, so I want to thicken up these shadows. I am really trying to not make a rose, if you know what I mean. If I had a penny for each time weird stuff came out of my mouth, it'd be retired. Hell yeah, man. Cheers. Sorry, this song is feels like super PBS music, like super Muzak. I really like it. It's just so you expect people to be providing an address to Walla Walla, Washington to submit your art test. That's just the kind of vibe that it has. I have to celebrate that and listen to it again. I'm sorry. I can't help myself. I don't loop songs like that a lot, but today I gotta. Chunka Chunka, back to here. Wait. Windows. Oop. Oh, for some reason this doesn't pop. Well, I guess people aren't using X to find me. There we go. Thanks all for hanging out with me today, guys. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. I'll rant to the void whether people are here or not. It's part of the process. But it's fun to see people sticking around and therefore assumedly resonating with what I'm talking about, whatever it is that I'm talking about. Or maybe you just like the art, who knows? But let me just say I appreciate you. Thanks for making sure that I'm not just some crazy old man shouting at a blank wall, because I'm literally shouting at a blank wall right now. But it's more metaphysical than that. This is that transition point that we start switching from outline of the light being the edges to light being the planes. Surfaces is the word I was trying to use earlier. Set that in a little bit, see where that goes.
I've been thinking about trying Twitch again. What I don't like is when I go to somebody's live stream and they have both YouTube and Twitch rolling at the same time, but they never respond to comments on YouTube, only on Twitch. That's a problem. I am not a fan of that. I like YouTube. I like YouTube a lot. I think it's more stable and seems to be more even keel than Twitch is. But like, where else am I gonna go? Rumble? Not a lot of choices for streaming, and YouTube seems to be the one with the most power that's going to have the most longevity. So I've kind of been like all in, but there is an argument about not putting all your eggs in one basket. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try Twitch again at some point. All right, that sounds like I'm down to 20 minutes. I've got 20 minutes left today. So I'm happy with where we're at so far with the topography, the terrain. I think we're about at the point where I want to add in the crystals for texture. So give me a second here. Once the muse lets go of me and gives me control again to make choices, I'll switch up my brush, but she's being stubborn right now. She insists that there's still some contour work to do over here, so I'm just letting her, like usual. The muse lies in my heart. I am a male identifying man. And so my brain is masculine, but that means my heart is feminine. And I have taken a deep dive in connection with my heart to help try to balance my sphere out a little bit. So I think logically and I think tactically, but I allow myself to feel to have that empathic depth. So if you're trying to figure out your identity and how do you sit inside the spectrum, a good suggestion might be figure out how does your brain and how does your heart work, and that will help you figure out how you're going to most naturally approach the world. And you can decide, or you can observe, do you lead headlong or heartstring? Like either your heart leads or your mind leads, and your mind is going to be masculine or feminine, and the other one's going to be the other, because that's the way that you balance yourself. One's going to be one, one's going to be other, and the one that you identify with is whichever one leads the most and you identify the best with. That's going to, regardless of what your body is, your personality, your spirit is going to identify in those two axes. Mind, body, and soul. Two of them are one gender, the other one is the other. And depending on the strength of the one versus the two or three, you're going to have a wide array of different personality, perspectives, and problem-solving like how to solve problems that are going to be in high contrast. It's not understanding that trinity that exists inside of everybody and how it can be balanced or unbalanced, and how balance versus radicalization is a natural part of process. They all work the same. It's all built on purpose. Some people have all three alignment. It's just down the line, all male, down the line, all female, and you can feel it about them. But they're very driven. Versus other people that are more balanced that might have a really strong minority that's in balance with the majority of expression inside of yourself, whether it's your body, your mind, or your heart. But I mean, don't take my words for it. This is just babble from the ether that comes out of me. That was unscripted, so I don't know what the fuck that was. I've never heard that before, but it sounds interesting. I'm willing to accept the words that come out of my mouth as a form of truth worth exploring,
but sometimes the shit that I say I've never heard before. So it bears further investigation. So these are ideas that are being fed from the depths, and when they come forth, I if they sound worth exploring and interesting, then it's something I'm probably going to end up exploring and interesting. Sometimes things just sound like fucking truth, and the things that just come through and feel like truth, it is difficult for me to not just accept them and start incorporating and folding into my larger world model. So take everything that I say as you want, like a buffet. As Egg Shin would say, life is a buffet. Take what you want and leave the rest. That sounds like a cop-out. Like, I don't take responsibility for the things I say, and that, yeah, it completely is. I recognize that. But again, I don't know what the fuck it is that I'm saying until I hear it. That's the higher state that I can get into with art. It's I can start, weird philosophy stuff starts flowing. And a lot of times it just makes a lot of sense to me from my own moral perspective, which is probably why it's being piped through me into conversation.
I like this. I think this looks pretty cool. There's a high risk of having an Easter Island effect happen here and me to start building faces from this. That's not what I want to have happen.
I think we're at a good place now. The muse seems.
Oops, wait. The muse seems satisfied with this density, so I'm going to. Damn it, girl! You just do not want to let me go, do you? She's so cantankerous. I'm under the impression that this muse energy can't actually feel emotions itself, that it has to express art through somebody alive for it to feel the sense of creation. Otherwise, it's a void experience, which is why these energies like to flow through people that are open to receiving them. That's, I guess you could call that a type of djinn, or daemon, as the Romans would, as the Greeks would put it, as opposed to demons, which is, as I understand it, a sort of blame-oriented simplification of the daemon possessive process of taking on spirits that provide energy and flow to you and help you create beyond yourself. I think it's a Viking idea as well. I don't know enough about Viking mythology or Viking animism to know if that's how they operate or not, but I believe it is. Okay, that feels pretty good. So let's now have our line art, which is fairly important. We'll probably do a highlight, like a counter color highlight, once we start adding in the moss, the Vulpina. For now, let's go down and grab our fractal cauliflower brush. I don't need this anymore. Oh, my eye. All right, it's better now. I'm gonna blow this up. We're gonna take this down to pure black. It's gonna blast out the balance, but we're gonna fade it. We're gonna reduce the opacity overall. We're also going to reduce the width of here, and now I'm just going to kind of dot along contours a little bit. Right now we're in the fuck around and find out phase. So let's see. Oh, that's right. Eraser is the same. Here we go. And then we're going to use a light opacity, like 20%. 22% on our eraser. So we're only taking away 1/5 of the black every time we tap it with the eraser. But it creates this neat little contrast fade pattern effect that I think is super cool. So we're gonna stick with this for a while and work and just work these contours. Since we were gifted with all these cool lines and contours, we can use them to layer in this crystal grit. And then we can look at the panes
and have them like here in a separate layer. Something like let's try this. Like that, and so when I erase at this, it creates this neat little spiky ridge, and then we could take that little ridge and put a line of Alpina along that ridge line. Like that. And then spread the colony across this mound here to connect the two. And then we'll erase that a little bit. And then if we duplicate that layer, and we go to Filter, Gaussian Blur, it creates a radiance as a glow effect. So this is the process. This is basically the process that we'll be following. And I wanted to demonstrate all of that to you because I got like maybe 15 minutes left. Yeah, I got like 10 minutes left, and I won't have the ability to complete all of these processes. But I wanted to demonstrate. This is essentially what I'll be doing off screen for the rest of the night, or between me adding like I'm doing bookmarks right now to hyperlink too. So I'll take a break from bookmarks at some point so I can start working more hyperlinks. Windows. Where's my color? Thank you. Drop this back down to 0. Squinch that a little bit. Drop down the size, and then let's work down again. We're just working this vertical plane that seems to be facing towards us. I want to work on the vertical sides for now, so I'm specifically trying to avoid overworking this little mound inside here. Like that. Do this 400 times and we're done with it. I don't know. We'll see what progress. We'll see what needs to be prioritized for myself tonight. Whether it's, I feel like the bookmarks, getting all the bookmarks resolved, I think is going to be a really big step, because once the bookmarks in place, everything that has bold inside of the book is basically is a hyperlink that will take you to a destination. So we want to build out all the destinations first, and then obviously you have to, so you have the hyperlink go somewhere. But I'm in the process of building out all those destinations inside the text of the document. Once that's done, then we hyperlink all the bold texts to their corresponding locations. Once that's done, look at that little ridge that got built in there. That's so cool. Once all the text hyperlinks are done, then we start adding in the image, the objects, the square objects to overlay on the pages, and then start dropping completed pages in. And then the pages that have maps on them need to have a transparent layer dropped over the image that have invisible buttons that when you overlay, like room 5, you click anywhere inside room 5, it'll bounce you to room 5 in the document. So we're building that hypertext, that hyperlink mesh over all of the maps that are multiple pages to be able to automatically bounce you to the page that you need to be in. And then the navigation bar, like here's a village navigation button. You can click on that and it'll take you back to the village map, for instance. And that stuff's boring as shit to watch. I've tried doing it before on stream, and it's RAM intensive and it requires a lot of Like I do not get flow state when I am doing hyperlink edits like that. There is no flow. It is stuff that I have to constantly be thinking about, reading, paying attention to. It is not entertainment. This, I am advanced enough as an artist to be able to randomly, to ramble freely about whatever comes through reality to share with you guys. I can do that, no problem. Art, no problem. Editing and writing, I can get into a flow state while writing, but that's an all internal process. There's not a lot of externality to it. Like when I'm doing game design stuff and I'm like writing a book with you guys online, it's a slower. I acknowledge it is a slower process, and it is the subject matter that retains audiences far more than me writing it and speaking out words while I'm typing them. I recognize that dichotomy, and I embrace that. This is why I am a painter first and a game designer and writer second and third. And it sounds like I ran out of music. Probably means I'm about to run out of time. I'm expecting my alarm's gonna bark at me in 5 minutes. That's fine. We're just gonna keep laying down crystals. This is how it does. This is where we're at in the process, and it's gonna end up looking pretty fucking cool when we're done, I suspect. But just another pause here to say thank you for folks that hang out and like listening to my rants and like the art and like the ideas and like the game. I appreciate it. It's creation is a very lonely process unto itself, and it was only by dumb luck that I stumbled into doing this and that I have the opportunity to have this level of sharing thoughts while I'm producing things that I have. It's I really appreciate and enjoy the process. This is a lot of fun for me. Super fun. It's I don't mind making it a hobby and keeping it a hobby. Currently, it would feel like cheating trying to turn this into a job, but the biggest fear is falling out of love with the process, because I would have to take on tasks that I don't want to do to maintain income. If I'm going to have to do tasks that I don't want to maintain income, I would very much appreciate them not be related to art, so I don't hate art. And I did that once back in early 2000s. I went full-time as a freelancer for a while. I was able to sustain myself for basically 9 months. But at the end of that process, I'm like, I fucking hate these projects that I'm having to bid on to make the money. It's a curious type of hell where you get what you want, but you hate what you get, I bailed out and got a real job. I started working for a microchip factory. I was building silicon wafers in Phoenix, Arizona. Holy shit. Running around in a Space Bunny suit and lasering stuff and turning gold into gas so you can splay it across silicone wafers. That is a mood, man. That is a cool fucking industry, but it's highly volatile. And I don't see very well in a job that requires high visual precision. I was not a good match. I was fortunate to last the year and a half that I was there, but it was not the right thing for me. I do not lament leaving it. I celebrate the time that I had and the opportunity to experience that. I then got into credit card fraud. After that, I got into chasing fraudsters across the globe using Chase credit cards. It's because the Chase Fraud Prevention Center was based in Phoenix, a couple miles away from where the Microsoft place was, the microchip place was at. And I was between both of them, so it was easy for me to kick over to either one of them on a bike. Fucking fun life. Oops, this is blocking my screen. No, I only do, I have a live stream Monday through Fridays in the mornings, just like this. Saturday morning as well. But Saturday mornings will be game design, will be color mana and martial power system development for 5e characters. On Mondays and Thursday nights, like last night, those are the 2 nights I do game design. I typically, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I have family, friends, a day job, and cool down time from that. So the time that I stream in the morning to set myself into a space where I've rewarded myself with artwork first, so that I can approach my day job with integrity without having to pine away at, boy, I wish I was painting instead of doing this day job. No, instead it's, I got to paint this morning because I go to this job. So thank you for my employment. I will be a good soldier and do the work. So I used to do artwork when I came home from work, and that was the relationship that was being built. I resent my day job because if I'm too exhausted at the end of my day to do any real hard work, I feel like I've lost a day of production, and then I blame the job. And then that's counterintuitive for me staying indoors. So I had to rebuild and change my relationship by flipping which one do I get first. And that has been a massive, I think we're entering my 4th year of streaming online. Yeah, wow, watch my channel explode in growth, guys. But it's the stuff that I do is the stuff that I want to do when I want to do it. And being able, and I can sustain this literally forever. Like I'm going to do artwork every day anyway. It's part of who I am. It's what I have to do. So Monday through Friday, unless I'm sick or on vacation, Monday through Friday in the mornings just like this, Monday and Thursday nights like last night, and the 6:30 till 8:30 block will be my Saturday mornings. We do play testing and campaigns on my Discord server at 9:45 Seattle Pacific time, -8 UTC. So I can get up early a lot of times I like to sleep in because I'm out late on Friday. But if I'm not going to be out late on Friday, I'll be able to get up in the morning at 6:30 like I usually do, jump on stream. But instead of doing artwork on Saturday morning, we do game design and book creation for the Color Mana system and the Martial Power system, which are things that I'm going to be ramping up production for once this Eberron adventure gets completed. The Color Mana system update for 2024 is one of my major projects that I need for me to be able to start doing Patreon stuff. So I'm motivated to get it done. But I think the Bastion system is more important for the next generation of DMs coming up, to have a tool like that be available for them to change their relationship with communities, guilds, religions, geopolitics, to give them a framework where they can gamify building the world with the players instead of on their own. It can still be a great DM solo activity. It's fun. It's as fun. Building worlds for a DM is as fun as building characters for players that get into that sort of stuff. So it's the two sides of the coin. But now we're building a codified system that builds a structure and like a mana system and resources for you to build those communities and guilds and fortresses and shit with. It's a deep dive expansion of what the Bastion system has promised to be. I'm just attempting to push the limits of what it's capable of doing to be a more Dominion style of play for characters, for players to get involved with or without their players, depending on how you want to build the campaign. If that made any sense at all. And god damn it, apparently I've been using the same layer, my line art layer for my crystals, but that'll be okay. My alarm went off, so technically I have to stop. But the muse, she's not letting me go yet. So as soon as she's willing to let me go, I'll be able to bail out of here. I'm gonna hit merge down. And then we have the separate plane here. So yeah, I'll be working on, I may end up working on this tomorrow as well. I think this is going to end up being really cool. Yeah, I know, right? It happens. It's okay. I could technically paint this on a single layer. I like to break it out into separation like this as a safeguard, but there, a lot of times at this point I end up erasing the line art anyway. It just goes away. It's not important anymore. So I don't mind it merging together with the crystals. It'll all be fine. If I was going to make a mistake, this is the absolute most gentle mistake that could possibly happen. But yeah, okay, so that's it for now, guys. I'm going to kick out of here. I'll be back tomorrow morning. I'll either continue on with this wherever it's at, or if I am able to finish it tonight, then we'll start on something new. We have a list of 18 more illustrations after this one, and with God's grace, it'll only take a day or two each. So we'll be done in 3 weeks-ish time, so that that'll be the first week of February. This adventure should be published. That is how far down the pipe we are at. We're really close to being done. So I'm expecting some post-mortem fallout, but everything's going to be fine. We're going to do some Bob Ross painting to help soothe my heart for the change. But that's it for now, guys. So I'll see you all tomorrow morning. And thanks a lot for hanging out with me, guys. I really appreciate it. Bye.